Tune in, show us you got New England pride. Show us you've got New England pride. Hi, I'm Dale LePage.
And I'm Tina Marie Billing.
Welcome to New England Pride TV. We've got a great show coming at you, as always.
Yes.
We always learn so much. I wanted to touch on something before we began the show. Yeah. One of my good friends, a very sweet, sweet woman, was just attacked in the parking lot of a Walmart. She's transgender. She was harassed and then attacked. She was beaten. And if you see something, say something, do something. She chose not to report it. She was ashamed. Don't be ashamed. It's a hate crime. If you report it, maybe these people can be brought to justice. So that's really basically what if you see something, say something. The rise in hate crimes against our transgender brothers and sisters is on the rise, as we know, because we read the articles, and so we just need this to be reported. All right, we're going to be back with so much more.
New England Pride TV is presented by Fallon Health and sponsored by the Hanover Theater for the Performing Arts, Remax Vision, Bay State Savings Bank, Safe Homes, Joseph Gonzalez Dofre, Boston wedding photographer, Paul Chasen Interior Design, Nuovo Restaurant, Dr. Frank P. Fetchner Plastic Surgery, The Queen's Cups, Escape Games Worcester, Art Reach, Electric Haze, Bull Mansion, Ellie's Pet Barn, Handmade Taekwondo Center, and Herd Strategy and Storytelling.
Hey kids, welcome back to New England Pride TV. Our next guest is, and I'm going to say this correctly, I've been practicing for 5 minutes, Jean-Denis Couillard. How's that?
That's great. Thanks.
All right, yay! All right. And you're here representing an organization called BAMSI. And can you tell me and our viewers what BAMSI is, please?
So BAMSI is a relatively large nonprofit in the Brockton area. BAMSI actually stands for Brockton Area Multi-Services Incorporated. And we serve individuals and families in the Brockton area and beyond.
Now, how did you get involved?
I had heard about BAMSI in the community a little bit and was job searching at the time, and found a position that was perfect for me. It was working with a community that I'm very dedicated and very passionate about, and that being trans people in the larger LGBTQ plus community.
Wonderful. Now, is this your first job working with the transgender community, or have you done this before?
No, I've actually had the pleasure of working previously with the Pride Center of Vermont. It's a fantastic nonprofit in Burlington,
nice.
Vermont. And there I focused mainly on HIV prevention, but also worked with the trans community there.
So you went from working with Vermont Pride, and what brought you down to, I think Brockton is the base for this?
Yeah, we're located in Brockton. I originally moved out actually in this area in Western Massachusetts to work on grad school. And then from there I moved a little bit further east to be closer to my partner.
Wonderful. And speaking of partners, I noticed you have an engagement ring.
Yes,
congratulations. That's exciting. Now, what exactly is your job title, and what do you do for BAMSI?
So my title is a trans health navigator, and we're kind of a unique program in that I have a traditional navigator role in terms of connecting people with resources, but it's also a bit of a hybrid with a case management kind of component where I might be working very closely sometimes with people on a longer term basis to meet some of the goals they may have.
Yeah. So let's say an individual comes into your organization to meet with you. You refer them to what best suits their needs?
I do, yeah.
And what kind of components does that have?
So I like to get to know someone a little bit about, what's going on in their life, what are they looking for, what are some things they really are looking to accomplish, and then some, finer points, insurance information, any of that kind of logistical information I might need. Yeah. And then from there, we work together to figure out a good pathway to get them where they want to go.
Now, there are so many expenses involved in transitioning, and one of the I've recently learned, well, not so recently, but this show has taught me a lot. That even like changing your name is tough to navigate sometimes.
It can be.
Do you help out with that also? And
Definitely. With name change, sometimes people think it's very straightforward, and occasionally it is rather straightforward, but there can be a lot of complicating factors for people. For example, I was working with someone who wanted to apply for housing, but she didn't have a social security card. She also didn't have a state ID, which she would need to also list as female.
As her new name? Is that what you mean? Doesn't have a social security card with her new name?
Period.
Oh, period. Didn't have one, period.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, we work with people to get all the steps. So the final goal might be housing, but in between, we need to work on getting, different documentation that they might need in that kind of process.
Right.
So for name changes, it can be kind of straightforward, but it can also be kind of complicated, and especially if people are looking at some sort of barriers around transportation or cost, or even just navigating the system. As a trans person especially, it can be very intimidating and very overwhelming for some people.
Now, with that, do you place that person or a client? Is there somebody who will walk them through that, or do you do that?
I do that
Oh,
myself.
you do that?
Yeah, I'm happy to direct
You're busy.
them either verbally. it's a busy program, yeah, for sure. And I'm happy to either give people instructions as they go along, or I can even accompany them or provide them with transportation to go places, or serve as an advocate if they meet up with some sort of barriers or resistance.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, early at the beginning of the show, I mentioned one of my friends was just recently assaulted in a parking lot at Walmart, hate crimes against transgender individuals is on the rise, as we all know. Do you run into any of that with your organization? Do people call you and say, "How do I handle this?" Or
Yeah. So far, most of the folks that I've been working with have had those sort of incidences in the past. But that violence definitely is a very large issue in the trans community. There's a large number of trans people that face violence, from friends and family, from public, from occasionally from police officers, medical professionals.
do you think that's
many
why some
sources.
people don't report it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there are a lot of reasons why people are hesitant to report it. Again, it can be very intimidating, overwhelming. That person also might not be out as trans.
Oh,
And so if you report it,
point.
you're then outing yourself. There can be a lot of really complicating factors in terms of why someone might not report
Right,
it.
right.
And we do see a spike in the summer as well. So unfortunately,
Really?
yes,
Oh,
hate
okay.
crimes tend to increase in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to touch on, you do mobile testing, which I found that to be wonderful.
I do.
Tell us about that and how that came about.
Yeah, so we have a mobile testing service. We have a site called the COPE Center, which is a harm reduction center. We do needle exchange, we do testing there as well. So kind of an offshoot of that, I do mobile testing. And we test for HIV, syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, and hepatitis C.
Wow.
And it's mobile, as you mentioned, so it's free to the individual, it's confidential, and I can meet them at a time and location convenient to them. So if they want me to go to their private home, for example, I absolutely can do that and provide them testing in a very discreet manner.
How would somebody, first of all, you just said you do that. I thought it would, that's just another one of your job aspects, right? You are
I wear a
very
lot of
busy.
hats, yeah.
One of the things I wanted to touch on was the organization itself. I asked you earlier in the kind of the pre-interview how many people work in your program, and you said
It's over 2,000 people
Over
in
2,000
the
people.
organization, BAMSI as a whole. Yeah.
that's I'm just floored by that. That's amazing.
Yeah, we have a large number of wraparound services for children and adults.
So it goes from children all the way up to adults for all these services.
Oh yeah. For children, for example, we have an early intervention program. So it just tries to get kids into the best foundation to get them a good head start in life.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody wants to contact you about mobile testing, how would they do that?
So there's several ways that they can reach out to me. They can call the office, they can email. I'm on Facebook, and so a lot of
Okay.
people outreach to me there. I also do outreach on different hookup apps that are directed towards men who like men. And I'm also on Snapchat.
Wow.
If
You
people like a
cover the whole
discreet-
media.
Yeah.
You're the social media department also.
For my program, I work on the social media, yeah.
So one of the things I really want to get clear to our viewers at home is I'd like you to tell them the website where they can find out all this information. What's the website, please?
So if they go to BAMSI.org.
It's BAMSI, BAMSI,
Yeah.
.org.
So information on, about my program is there. And the name of the program is TCORE.
TCORE, what does that stand for?
Yeah, it stands for Trans Community Outreach, Resources, and Empowerment. And that's exactly what I do. I outreach to the trans community, gender nonconforming, non-binary, and questioning people as well, and provide them with some resources and hopefully support them so that they can come to a place where they feel more empowered.
Fantastic. I love everything you're saying. It's just, you're inspiring.
Oh,
Thank you
That's okay.
for doing what you do. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of this interview. If people want to look you up, you can just go to the website. You have a wonderful staff who is so supportive to everybody who's in need. So we're going to take a little break now, and we'll be back with more New England Pride TV right after this.
Hi, Dale. Hi, everyone. It's me, Miss Lady Sabrina. I got a very interesting letter. I wouldn't even call it a letter. It was just a question. And the question was, when's a good time to know when to leave? There wasn't more with it or less with it, so we're just going to talk about just things and knowing your worth. You know, what to look for, what are some of the avenues that we use to kind of judge our relationships. I mean, I think one of the things is if you're asking that question, then it's probably time to leave. I mean, if there are, of course, the biggies like physical abuse, mental abuse, you know, cheating, you know, all of those things are like, yeah. You know, but there's smaller things. There's, you know, like people who get used to being disrespected or not being appreciated or valued, you know, in a relationship. And sometimes we create the situations, and I'm not blaming, you know, people who are in these situations. What I'm saying is, you know, sometimes we create people treating us a certain way because we tolerate it. Now, granted, they still behave that way, but we tolerate it. And every time you tolerate something, you're pretty much giving permission to the other person to just keep right on going. You know, so you have to think about, you know, what were some of the red flags? What red flags did you see and ignore? And what's a way to kind of get this back on track? I mean, there are times where, you know, you just don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, sometimes if you've had years invested, you know, you work through counseling, you work through, you know, a variety of different avenues before you call it quits. And especially if children are involved. I mean, if children are involved, obviously, you know, you do whatever you can, because every marriage that can be saved should be saved. So, you know, thinking about that. But, you know, if we're talking about a new relationship and the person just isn't, you know, treating you the way that you need to be treated, well, then, you know, you have to kind of set your rules. You have to draw your lines in the sand. You have to set the expectations on how you're going to be treated. You can't just expect that you're going to get into a relationship and everyone is just going to know, like, right off the bat, oh, well, you know, I know exactly how, you know, this person needs to be treated. I mean, some people come from broken systems, and you know, when what they need is they need you to kind of let them know what your limits are and see if they can function within them. If they can't function within them, well then, hey, off you go. There's plenty of other people out there for you. But if you give them that and they hear you and they move forward and start respecting your limits, and you know, and then of course it gives you the opportunity to ask questions about, you know, what are some of their limits? What are some of the things that you either may be doing or in the future might happen, so that you can now, you know, make it a conversation, make it a topic that can be discussed on a regular basis. And if something comes up, you know, here we go. Well, I hope that answered the question. Next time, just give me a little more information and I'd be happy to do it. I hope this finds you well. This is coming out with Mother's Day. You know, summer, enjoy yourselves, be good to yourselves. Love and light. Lady Sabrina.
Hey everybody, welcome back to New England Pride TV. I am here right now with, you know what, the one and only Al Green. Yay! If you're a fan of New England Pride TV, Al is no stranger to you. He's been on a couple of times, and you're coming on my radio show right after this taping. So first of all, welcome.
Thank you, Dale.
And I just saw you at the Safe Homes Gala. That was so much fun.
It certainly
and I
was.
got to meet your mom, who looked stunning that night. Make sure she watches this. Hi, Mom.
I'll be sure to tell her.
I awarded you, you received an award last year from QFlix, the LGBTQ Film Festival, for your work in the community. So bravo to you.
Thank you.
It's there's so much great things going now with the LGBT Asylum Task Force. You guys are just killing it. You're crushing it. Last year, your gala was absolutely jam-packed, sold out, and you're going to do that again this year.
Yes.
In a bigger venue or the same venue?
Same venue, but we're
Yeah.
going to rearrange the layout a little bit so we can actually accommodate more people.
Even more people.
Yeah.
All right. Did you have a waiting list last year also?
We did have a slight waiting list, yes.
I love that. I love hearing that. Let's first start by telling our viewers what the LGBT Asylum Task Force is, how it started, what its mission is, and your role in that.
All right. So first off, I am the ministry director of the LGBT Asylum Task Force. We are a ministry of the Hadron Park Congregational Church, UCC, that supports LGBTQ plus individuals who are seeking asylum here in the U.S. So that means that they're fleeing persecution in their home countries on account of their sexual identities.
Right.
And
These people are in danger for their lives.
Exactly.
They're not moving here to take anyone's jobs. They're trying to save their families' lives and their own lives. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So people oftentimes just escape barely with their lives and get on a plane and come to the U.S.
Yeah.
And we provide housing, food, stipend support, and we try as best as possible to provide connections to pro bono legal, medical, mental health services. And so we try to make sure that we get people on the path to not just being successful in seeking asylum, but also so that they're successful as human beings in assimilating to the American life.
Right. So last year's gala, I think you were raising money to buy housing. Is that still in the works, or did that happen?
It is. So what we did, we formulated a housing committee, a housing search committee, and we've been meeting regularly, and we're going through the phases, and definitely by the next gala on October 5th, we will
You'll have an announcement?
We'll have an announcement on that.
Oh, good. What were you looking for? Were you looking for like a multi-family kind of thing?
Yeah, so we're looking for a triple decker.
Yeah.
And so we found that that's the most efficient way to do it,
Right.
in terms of making sure that our supporters or volunteers don't have to be driving all over Worcester to meet with and to give rides. Asylum seekers themselves can also interact more easily with each other and not have to spend their limited income navigating the public transport system. And then also, we just wanted to make sure that there was the ability for us to have better programming, right? And so that folks can have a stronger sense of community and be able to support each other. Because as you might imagine, folks are going through depression and after going through all the trauma that they've experienced.
It's trauma.
Right.
It's trauma.
It is. And so rather than being locked up all alone in their apartments, in their bedrooms, we try to have as many activities as possible for folks to interact and to get outside and to provide support for each other.
What kind of activities do you offer? I know you do, I don't know if it's a weekly or a monthly, like dinner at the church.
Right.
Is that weekly or monthly?
Monthly. So
That's
every
monthly.
second Monday of
Yeah.
the month at the church
Yeah.
at 6 Clover Street at 6 p.m., we have a community dinner.
Yeah.
There we have asylum seekers who are currently in our support, folks who've already transitioned out of our support, as well as our supporters, all coming
good.
together.
They all come together.
All coming together to
Nice.
network. You've been there to a couple of them.
I have,
And-
and I met some really amazing people.
They are. And what we do at these community dinners as well is have a workshop right? And those workshops are on topics that are geared towards self-sufficiency.
Like
and
what?
so we have knowing your rights as an immigrant, as an asylum seeker. We have finding an apartment, finding a job. We'll have community partners come in and present their resources. So we've had Planned Parenthood, we've had Workforce Central. So all these organizations, all these resources that an individual will probably need to have within the first couple of years of being here, right? We try to bring all of those to the asylum seekers.
I'm sure there's so much that like when you think of coming here, like sometimes they just come with the clothes on their back just
Yeah.
because they've been able to escape. Do you, with the funding, and please forgive me if I'm not saying the correct thing, but with your funding, do you help get them safe passage? Is that what you do? Do you try to get like plane tickets sent to them or something?
Well, we deliberately decided not to enter into that because that is kind of a gray area. But there are organizations that do that. So there's Rainbow Railroad in Canada. That's
What's it called?
Rainbow Railroad.
Okay.
And that's their sole purpose. So they help with tickets. They'll help with finding safe passage. What we decided was once an individual gets on U.S. soil, get in touch with us and we'll provide support.
So when they come to U.S. soil, is it the main, like Boston, New York?
All over.
All over.
We've had folks who've come to us, who got in touch with us when they were in California, in Texas. And so wherever it is an individual is, right, they'll try to find resources, and there really aren't that many organizations out there that will provide.
That do what you do?
Exactly. Or at least, quite frankly, there aren't any that do the comprehensive level of support that we do.
That you do.
And so to provide housing and food and stipend support, basically to take care of all the basic needs that an individual will have for the duration that is actually needed, right, which can be anywhere from 8 to 16 months, right? There aren't any organizations that do that. It's very costly to do that kind of work, and so I'd imagine that's probably why no one else does it. But we decided that, hey, I mean, rather than having people suffer and trying to find help elsewhere, we'll do our best to take care of those very basic needs.
Speaking of cost, let's jump right into the gala where you raise money. Tell us, it's called Building Bridges of Hope. It is happening on October 5th.
Yes.
At the DCU Center in Worcester, Massachusetts. Tell us what what will happen at the gala. Tell us.
All right. So the gala actually is our major fundraiser of the year. Right. Last year we were able to pull in $150,000, and that was earmarked towards the new housing that we wanted, or that we're in the process of acquiring. We this year, thankfully, will be able to put it towards just basic support.
Basic needs.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Quite frankly, every penny that comes in to us goes directly to supporting asylum seekers.
Right.
Right. And so at the gala, we're going to have a silent auction. We're going to have raffles. We're going to have entertainment. There's going to be a DJ there on the dance floor, so that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
There's going to be a photo booth and some really great silent auction items. One of which is a meal for 8. That's going to be prepared by me. 3-course meal, Jamaican meal.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
that's nice of you.
Yeah, I mean, I like cooking, and
in somebody's home or in your home?
In someone's home.
Okay.
So I'll travel to the person's home and do that.
That's nice.
And for the past
so
2 years.
That'll go for $1 million.
I'd hope so. I mean, it costs us $32,000 per month to do the work that we're doing, and so we definitely need a lot of funding to do that.
Yeah. Oh, you can count on me to donate something to the silent auction too.
As you always have, and we appreciate that.
I actually, I have something in mind. So tell our viewers, unfortunately we're coming to the end of this interview, but tell our viewers the website and how they can buy tickets to this amazing event, which everyone should be going to. Just look at camera 2 right there.
All right. So you can go to lgbtasylum.org. There you can find out information about the task force as well as purchase tickets to this year's gala.
I've been there. It's a fabulous time. You should all go. It's an extremely worthwhile cause. And I'll see you there. All right. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Pleasure. And we will be back with more New England Pride TV right after this.
T, and tonight I am coming to you from the second annual sold out Worcester Pride Comedy Fundraiser. I brought a bunch of friends with me. You're going to see what a great time we have.
Probably know this next song, so feel free to sing along. All I ask is that we sing the same key. I'm afraid that she
You can check me out on YouTube and my blog. It's Everyday Starlet, and follow me on Instagram at Sarah Blodgett.
Any potential for a 3-beer queer?
I don't really drink beer, so probably not.
And you know, getting older, my biological clock is ticking like crazy. Unfortunately, only dogs can hear it, so it's not. I'm looking at my options. I would totally consider adoption because I love shopping. Think about how fun, though. You know, well, this one goes with my complexion. The black goes with everything. I told you guys I was from Worcester. Okay. If I came walking the door right now carrying a black baby, not a single one of you would think that I adopted it. I would look like every other girl from my high school.
How long have you been doing comedy? You're fairly new to comedy.
About 3 years or so.
You're a superstar already.
One of my idols right here in the flesh. Like, I'm not a big fan of camping. And everyone at that point says you're not a lesbian. And then the next thing you know, you hear, zip. And then I start smelling coffee. Like, then I hear, zip, zip, morning. And you're up. And it's 7 o'clock in the morning. And you slept 3 freaking hours. And you're saying to yourself, what the fuck are we doing up at 7 o'clock in the morning? All we're gonna do is sit around on a campfire and drink all day.
This is actually my first time performing in Worcester.
What?
I'm so excited. This is the most beautiful venue I've ever been to.
Well, we're lucky to have you.
I'm a gay person. I've been gay for a very long time. I am so gay. Everybody. How gay? Thank you. I am so gay that every time I try and type the word girl in my cell phone, it autocorrects to spell it with a U in the middle. Okay? With 3 R's and 5 L's. In all caps, you know, like God intended.
I call my wife Rosetta Stone. Because my wife thinks she's fluent in French. But it really just means every single sentence starts with we. Like, we have to mow the lawn. We have to do the laundry. You know, we have to get an oil change. Which quickly translates into walk. So imagine how excited I was when we got married. Now we can pay down my credit card debt. Another fabulous comedy show for Worcester Pride. Make sure you mark your calendars. Keep an eye out on worcesterpride.org. Did you guys have a good time? Woo! Until next time, this is Amy T with ECT. Make sure you be responsible for the energy you bring into this world. Practice compassion and tolerance. Take care, everybody.
Once again, we've come to the end of another episode of New England Pride TV. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting our Facebook page. We are almost at 10,000 followers, which is amazing.
Yes,
especially, again, I'll stress this, 10,000 followers on a Facebook page with no porn, that's pretty good, you know? Think of how good we'd do if we had porn. No. Thank you to our guests today, and I'm going to close by saying what we always say.
Yes.
Please don't be afraid to shine your light.
Because you might be lighting the way for someone in need.
Until next time, thanks for watching New England Pride TV.
Tune in, show us you've got New England Pride. Show us you've got New England Pride.